think this might be my favorite NFL 100 experience. If you want to bring the Vince Lombardi Trophy home for Wild Card Weekend, enter for a chance to win. You can post a picture or a video telling us why you deserve to lift the Vince Lombardi Trophy on Instagram, on Twitter. Tag at NFL, hashtag NFL100 contest for more info. Visit NFL.com/100/contest. The actual trophy, not me on Halloween.
No, Kay was an incredible Lombardi Trophy on Halloween, though. Do you have a favorite image of someone holding up a Super Bowl trophy? Which one is it?
Steve Young holding it up and saying to Gary Plummer, "Get the monkey off my back." Saying, "I finally got it." Steve Young hoisting it, finally being liberated, and saying, "No more Joe Montana's shadow" is an amazing moment.
Drew Brees with his...
Yeah, with the ear things.
It's incredible. And they just had this wild Super Bowl over Peyton Manning and Tracy Porter and everything like that. Nate, you got one?
Seattle.
Yeah?
Just because I'm from Seattle, just seeing Russell Wilson bring that type of energy back home to Seattle, that was amazing.
How about that Patriots one?
Which one, Adam?
No,
so many of them, and so many power rankings, because now we are playing with power. NFL Network's Dan Hanzus is going to join us in just a minute. Why don't we run through his Week 10 power rankings up on NFL.com. We had Herman Moore today, who cameos in Jerry Maguire. So we're going to do this according to athlete cameos in movies. Let's get to the full screens.
Nice.
First, the Brett Favre and Something About Mary division. Oh, Mary, I'll always be true to you. Redskins down at 32, below the Jets at 31, who just lost to the 2019, the Dolphins. Arizona Cardinals, I think, having a pretty good season, still in the bottom tier, though. Moving on to the Tom Brady in Stuck on You division.
Okay.
He has a nose ring in it. You blink and you miss it, but he's there. The Steelers in the middle of the pack. Chargers, huge game Thursday night, of course. Cleveland Browns, man, we had big expectations for them, as we did for the Bears at 22. Moving on to the Jim Brown in the running man division. Whitman, Price, and Haddad. Not really a cameo, sort of a key part. Houston Texans and Vikings rounding out the top 10. Raiders go tomorrow night, though, and they got a lot to prove in that Coliseum trying to move up. And lastly, of course, we go to my personal favorite, the Patrick Ewing in Exorcist 3 division.
You love that one.
It really did happen. Please go bing it. Niners at 1. The Patrick Ewing in the Exorcist 3 winner. Saints down to 2. Then the Pats off a loss above the Ravens, as they were in Adam's Fight My 5 segments. And the Packers rounding at number 5 despite a loss. Hanzus has questions to answer right now. Let's go to him, the man behind the power from Los Angeles. Dan Hanzus. Good morning, Dan.
Hi, what's up, everybody?
Apparently, you're tan. We'll call you Tan Hanzus today. We've got a brand new top 5. Let's start with number 1. You know who's really tan? Oh, those Niners, Garoppolo and Shanahan and Lynch and all of them. What was the deciding factor for you, Dan, in ranking them above the Saints in the top spot? It was just the undefeated record, or is there more to it?
I think Kay might have had the Saints ahead, which in the power rankings industry, we were a little shaken up by that. But I have to say, 8-0 deserves respect, and especially what happened on Thursday night. The scariest thing that happened on Halloween was Jimmy Garoppolo playing like a star, because when you factor in everything else that's going on with this team, what they can do on defense, how they can move the ball, the running game, how they're so well coached. And now if Garoppolo is going to take the next step as a quarterback, that's truly frightening to the rest of the NFC. I just think that the Niners 8-0 with a quarterback on the rise, it's their time.
Dan, I watch you every week come on this show, and you say time and time again, it's not about the standings, it's about who's playing the best football. And yet, I look at your power rankings, and the Patriots are still ranked better than the Baltimore Ravens. I know you watched with your own 2 eyes, the Ravens just beat the Patriots. Make a case. Why should the Patriots still be ranked above the Ravens on power rankings?
I moved them up from 10 to 4, which is showing a lot of respect. But I do factor in the venue in this. If the Ravens, just keeping it real here, Schragbom, if the Ravens went to Foxborough on Sunday night, I probably would have put them ahead. But the fact that they did it at home, taking nothing away from what Baltimore did, which was incredibly impressive, I'm going to keep them just behind the Pats. But they're nipping at their heels, obviously. And it's also a show of respect to the Pats, who had such an incredible start to the season. And I still think, even though they looked overmatched at times against Lamar Jackson, that this is a team that's going to be in the top 3, that's going to be playing deep into January and perhaps February. So we're going to give them the respect and keep the Pats in the top 3.
Oh, look at us, Hanzus. We agree on one thing in these power rankings, the Pats over the Ravens. I mean, I'm not going to get into the Saints versus Niners things with you. I'm going to talk about the Packers, who dropped
You shook
one
up the
spot
industry.
after the loss to the Chargers. You ask, I don't do power rankings. I do best teams. Fight my five.
I
Your
know,
column,
again,
though,
the IP,
talking
it's pretty
about
close.
Green Bay. Oh, here we go. Is this a slump or a bump in the road? That's what you quoted. That's what you said. How
Yes.
are they still ranked number 5 above Seattle, above the Cowboys, and even the Chiefs? I'll throw them in there, too.
Well, after some careful thought, some Doug Marrone-like careful thought, I decided it was a bump in the road for the Packers. And this is a team that, going into the game, was in my top 4. They were in the Holy Quadrant. That didn't last long, but I still think they're a superpower in the conference. And I think they're set up well to get back on track. They got a home game against Kyle Allen and the Panthers. I like what they can do there. Then they go into their bye, and then it gets fun because then they go to San Francisco. And I just think that's going to be one of the games of the year potentially. So, yes, I see it as a bump in the road. Could it be lead to a tailspin? Some recent Packers teams have gone into deep funks this time of year, and they didn't survive. But I feel like this is a different team with LaFleur and a healthy Aaron Rodgers.
Dan, let's take a trip to the middle of your rankings, numbers 16 through 18. We have the Raiders, Steelers, Chargers back to back to back. And sticking with Kyle's theme of athletes in movies, a little bit of a AFC Space Jam. Now, these guys are currently out of the playoff picture. We know that they got Monstars, but who has the secret stuff to get into the postseason?
Well, Nate, I'm going to sound like a company man here, but I think the winner of Thursday Night Football. I think the Chargers going up to the black hole. Whoever comes out of that game, I'm feeling pretty good about sticking around in this playoff race and making a real charge. And I think that's on the Chargers side, what we saw, what they did to the Packers. It seems like the Packers almost caught LA at a bad time, a team that was underperforming, that was a great team last year, that is figuring itself out. I think the Chargers have that ability to make a rise. And the Raiders, on the other hand, they're ahead in their rebuild. Mike Mayock and John Gruden are doing such a great job that this is a team that no one expected could sniff 10 wins. But if they win this game, and it's going to be nuts in the black hole, that's going to be a great environment. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Chargers. I would pick the Raiders if you're asking of those three, because that's who I see winning on Thursday.
Wow.
And we love it, and we love following at Dan Hanzus. This is the best appearance by a Dan since Marino and Pet Detective. My man, Dan Hanzus, thank you. Nice job, Dad.
Tied it all together. I love it.
See ya, Tan Hanzus. Doug Marrone makes the call on his quarterback. Can Foles lead this Jacks to the playoffs?
Nick Foles can do anything.
They seem like a playoff team, too.
They do?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see them back in the thing. And is Tom Brady the greatest game changer in the history of the sport?
Huh.
Game changers aren't just people, too. Like, they have gloves.
Cookbooks.